7 gentle nutrition tips the French swear by. The art of French living and French dining and being able to eat tons of bread, pastries, cheese, wine, whatever, and still be thin is a question of debate. And if there's one thing I feel that the French are really good at doing, it is putting into practice gentle nutrition. So today we're going to be talking about 7 gentle nutrition tips that the French apply to their way of eating and their way of life in general that you should too. So first, let's do a little dive into what gentle nutrition is. So basically it's about having a gentle and holistic and empathetic approach towards eating and your relationship with food. It really challenges all the negative aspects of a diet culture with having certain foods be good or bad and having extreme restriction and feeling guilty or shameful whenever you eat foods that you're not supposed to eat, or obsessively tracking everything that you're eating, all of these things. And it focuses again on an approach that's much kinder and much more in tune with your body and what it needs. Gentle nutrition really takes into account both the nutritional aspect of food and also the emotional and social and all of that, those aspects as well. So if you say that on one side there is extreme healthy eating where you're making sure that you're getting nutrients that you need and that you're tracking every single thing, making sure your macros are exactly in check and all your vitamins and minerals too, and you're being very restrictive, you're not allowing yourself to have any treats, and you're feeling guilty every time you mess up. There's that. And then on the other hand, let's say there's just being, I don't care, I'm just gonna eat whatever I want whenever I want, and I don't really care if it's good or bad for me. So with gentle nutrition, you basically are making choices that are at the intersection of honoring your body's needs and nutritional requirements, and also honoring your body's cravings and emotional needs. And to be 100% honest, I don't think that French people really know about gentle nutrition. They don't know this term or anything like that, but they are very good at it naturally, and that's actually what the goal should be. You don't want to be obsessed over gentle nutrition. That's the goal. You just want to kind of do it. So here are some tips inspired by the French. Number 1, quality over quantity. I think if I would have to say the biggest difference that just strikes me as a French person who lived in the United States between both countries was the difference of quantity in everything in general, but also in everything food related. If you go into an American grocery store, it's just it's just supermarkets. They're all super huge. The aisles are huge. The carts are huge. Products are huge. You have a billion different options. And in my opinion, and the opinion of many other people, the quality of the food in France is also better, because it's really hard to do big portions, big quantities, and also have the quality be there. And so when it comes to choosing either quality or quantity, French people really like to go for the quality. For instance, they would rather enjoy the occasional, maybe once a week, grass-fed organic meat from their local butcher, rather than have tons of processed meat every single day from their grocery store. Another example is pastries. They would rather go to their local boulangerie and get single serving pastries, high quality ingredients, and eat that once in a while, rather than get huge cakes from the grocery store with questionable quality and eat that multiple times a week. So to apply this gentle nutrition tip to your own way of life, make sure that you are valuing the quality of whatever you buy over the quantity. There's no need to buy a ton of different things. Just buy the things that you truly actually need, that you're actually going to eat that week. Number 2, engage all your senses. For French people, eating is not just about stuffing your mouth with food. It's about having, of course, the food taste good, but also about having the presentation look good and the food look good and stimulating your visual sense, having a nice presentation of what you're eating. Also making sure the food smells good and that the food is just in general interesting to look at, that the whole meal experience is nice, you know, like at the table with like nice silverware. Lots of French people criticize the American like food and way of eating because they say it's just like an overload of a ton of food that's like super sugary or like super greasy and like fried, and that's it. You have no visual pleasure, you have no like nice smells, you have like no nice presentation. There's really none of that. So if you want to apply this principle to your own life, make sure that you work on making your food look appealing as well as taste good as well, and that they're like a bunch of different colors, and that they're nice smells, and that you're using like herbs and spices to help with the taste and the smell, to maybe like emphasize it. And you can like set a nice little place at the table for yourself and just have a nice comfortable environment where it's really going to be an experience rather than just like shoveling food down your throat. And that can also be really helpful for mindful eating, and we're going to talk about that later on. Just a little reminder that you can find all of the services I offer on my website, and that's going to be the first link in the description. You can check out things that are paid, like my nutrition coaching sessions or my courses, but there's also a ton of free material, from webinars to ebooks to checklists to challenges, so make sure to check that out. Number 3 kind of goes with number 1, where I talked about quality over quantity, and it's about the portion sizes. Like I said, they're way bigger in the United States, and French people would rather have smaller portion sizes, again, because this means that it's higher quality, and also because that way they can much better tune in to what their body is telling them. It's much easier to be like listening to your body and not overdoing it when you have like a normal portion size. But if you have an all-you-can-eat buffet or like tons of different dishes in front of you, or just like way too big portions, it's much harder to actually stop eating when you're full. And so the gentle nutrition aspect, you want to be a little bit in the middle. Like you don't want to be, oh, I'm just gonna have as much as I want, have like these huge portions, whatever, I don't care. No. You also don't want to be like, oh, I want to go on a diet, I'm gonna restrict this, I'm not gonna have, you know, portions that are bigger than my hand. No. Find a middle ground where you have enough to feel full and satisfied. A right portion size for you would be one that keeps you full and satisfied for around 3 to 4 hours. Number 4, take your time. Another huge shocker to me as a French person when I went to the US was how short their meals are. They don't even really like have meal time. Everybody just like randomly kind of eats whenever they want. And if they do eat as a family, it lasts like 10 minutes, or they're like watching TV while they do it. Like drastically different from the French experience, where everybody will sit down at the dinner table for at least like an hour. Sometimes it can last like multiple hours. I'm not even kidding. You can watch a video I made like right here or in the description about a typical meal in like a French family, and you can see what I mean. The thing is that for French people, eating is not just about like filling your body up with food. It's also about the entire like social experience and enjoying the actual like meal time as a whole, being able to talk to people, ask like how their day went, and like exchange on different subjects, all while they're enjoying the food. And this just like amplifies the entire eating experience, and you're likely to be satisfied with less food because you have other things that are satisfying you, satisfying other senses like we talked about earlier, and then satisfying like the need for like social connection. And also, since you're taking your time, you're more likely to be in tune with your fullness cues. You're gonna take more time to like properly chew the food and make sure that you actually want the next bite, and that you're not just like eating it because it's there. And like all these things are gonna be like easier to do if you make your meals longer. Number 5, French people have home cooked meals almost all the time. Now things are changing a little bit with like delivery apps, and people get stuff like order out sometimes, but it's much rarer than in the United States. And the thing is that when you're cooking at home, there's a greater chance that the food is, first of all, going to be healthier with ingredients that are better for you, and also the portion sizes are going to be more adapted to you because you can choose to eat however much you want. Whereas if you're ordering takeout, it's kind of hard to be like, okay, this is like this huge thing that I just ordered, I'm only gonna have like half of it. I mean, if you can do that, great. But realistically, a lot of people don't do that, especially when you're having like a pizza or burgers or stuff that's kind of hard to portion out. When you cook your own meals, it's really much easier to apply principles of gentle nutrition because you can choose the ingredients that both are going to satisfy your like cravings and desires, and also that are going to make your body feel good and give you the energy and the nutrients that you need. Number 6, shocking but true, water is the main beverage for most French people. I say shocking because lots of people think that we all just like drink wine at the table all the time, and we don't. I mean, I'm sure like some French people do, but generally we have water, and that is again a huge difference that I saw like in the US. People were just having soda or like juice or whatever all the time, and water was like one option, but like there were tons of other options as well. Whereas for most French people, water is like the only option. It's like the default option. You're always gonna have some water at the table. And of course for special occasions like, you know, treats or whatever, you can have a little bit of soda, a little bit of alcohol, whatever, but you're always gonna just be expecting water. And that is so helpful in terms of like gentle nutrition because water is the healthiest beverage, of course. And if you're like drinking multiple sodas a day, that is not good for your body. Again, total difference between drinking it all day every day, which you should not do, and like restricting soda and never having it, which you should also not do. So a good middle ground is having water be like your default drink, and then once in a while have a drink that you really like, even if it's not water. And number 7, French people are very good at practicing mindfulness when they eat. So eating mindfully is so helpful when you're trying to lose weight because your body actually is really good at telling you when you're hungry, when you're full, when it wants to eat something, when it doesn't, and you're actually really not that good at listening to it. That's the only problem. If you make this a priority, if you try to tune in to what your body is telling you before your meal, during your meal, and after your meal, make sure that you aren't like starving for multiple hours before you eat, and make sure that you're not eating way past fullness to a point where you don't feel well for like a couple hours after your meal. And if you eat your meals without distractions, so you're focusing on your meal, you're not focusing on like the TV or whatever, then your eating experience is going to be much more mindful and you are going to reap so many benefits out of this. If you're more interested in learning about mindful eating and intuitive eating, I have an entire playlist about that you can check out right here, and also I'm gonna put the link in the description. That's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed these tips and found them useful, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.